Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jared. I'm here with Space Coast to bring you guys like a G6 versus the Covenant. It is still playoffs. It is the final day of this season, where at the end of this match, we will have someone at the third place spot, and one other team between these two will move on to face Freya in the grand finals space. We've seen a lot of fighting between all the teams in the regular season and plenty of really close matches, but like a G6 and Covenant, I don't think this is a matchup that we've actually seen very much. I think there was like a forfeit that happened week
Yeah,
one, so they didn't really get. I mean, I'm sure
there's shenanigans.
they've scrimmed and such, but the only thing really we have to go off of is a sultry match that happened in week 6 that pretty much went in G6's favor. So the fact that we get a whole BO3 between these teams and get to see more action between them should be pretty hype, as long as you know, both teams are showing up. You always got that early moment where no pregame scrims or anything like that. Just going in cold and see what happens. And on a first map of product out of the 3 maps that could be played tonight, I mean, I don't think we've seen a whole lot of product recently, and we'll see who it ends up favoring.
Yeah, I haven't really casted product at all this season. It's been a map that teams have banned very quickly because it's kind of, I feel like product's either a love it or hate it map depending on how good your team is on it. And if it's definitely, I feel like it can show the difference between teams very easily. So generally, one team is just going to immediately ban it, but both teams, it's a lot easier to play the maps you want in playoffs, or at least get one of them, because you only get one ban before shenanigans start happening. So product is going to be played. G6 did pick it, and I'm pretty excited. It's been a hot minute since we've seen the map, and product's usually a pretty good time.
Yep, we're seeing Gullywash for sure as well, and then Sultry will be the third map if it comes to it. Taking a look at the bans, I think for the most part, some of these things make sense, like, Covenant getting rid of Bagel right off the bat. Um, and the Covenant has shown the most promise, I think, on a map like Snakewater. So even though I'm sure G6 is confident in themselves, if you have a ban to use, you might as well use it on a map like Snakewater to prevent any like mishaps from happening. But I think I think most people kind of recognize that G6 are coming into this as the favorites. So I'm kind of curious how the Covenant are going to address going into this match, in terms of playstyle, or changing things up. Or, I mean, I guess with the map picks, they only really get Gullywash. So if there's anything map specific, that'll be that area where we get to see anything like that happening. But we'll see how things kind of shake down. But before we get too deep into talking about product, which is going to be the first map, it's important to go over the rosters. I mean, people that have watched this whole season kind of know what to expect when it comes to who's on what team. But maybe for some newcomers, we can go over and fill you in on what's up. I'll go ahead and go over the G6 roster. It is Brainslam and Gungan on Scout, Soapy and Kobe on Soldier, Habib on Demo, and Logai on Medic.
And for the Covenant, we have Shamu and Scratch on Scout.
That's actually should be Exile.
I was gonna say, I was like, Shamu, that doesn't sound right. So Exile and Scratch on Scout, Grape Juice and Kev on Soldier, Sam on Demoman, and Asian on Medic. And yeah, I think that goes to show there's been a lot of many different iterations of the Covenant this season. But unless Shibu's ringing, I don't know, Exile's on the server, so unless there is shenanigans happening, Exile should be the scout for this match. Exile has been playing pretty well overall this season. Don't think it, I think he's one of their standout, like, kind of X Factor players, honestly.
I think the extra impressive thing that comes from the side of the Covenant is this is kind of like a salvaged roster. Like, they had mishaps earlier in the season that resulted in the team doing an overhaul and trying to get a roster together. And Scratch kind of talked about in one of the interviews that when they lost like about half their team, they found a way to just pick up some of the players from a dead team that didn't get to form in the regular season, or in the off season, to kind of have them fill in, and it worked out pretty well. I mean, considering you're playing with a roster that wasn't formed at, week 1 or right before week 1, and you're still coming up with a bare minimum a third place finish, if not even more, from your performances that could happen today. I think you'd be pretty happy with that. But if they want to keep going on and beat G6, it's going to be a tough nut to crack. A G6, obviously, they have championship titles. The names are extremely recognizable. Even like Gungan, who's the new blood on the team, has plenty of like experience in invite. So I think it's going to be kind of rough for them. But we'll see how it kind of shakes down. Product first map. There's some room for the way that Covenant kind of wants to play. I think some of their playstyle revolves around 5 CP, but for the most part, they should be able to pull out some things like Sniper. They can find a way to go behind Concrete on product and loop around that way, and maybe be unspotted or go for quick plays like that. But I think it comes down to dynamics as well. Wouldn't you agree? You gotta change things up, otherwise you're gonna get found out, and people will hard counter you eventually.
Yeah, I think it comes down to dynamics. I think it comes down to as well, like individual class matchups on product. Like obviously you have your scouts, but I think the demo v demo could be very important this map. And Habib kind of scares me on this map. I
It's hard to diff Habib. It, like,
yeah,
takes a monstrous amount of effort.
like if you're doing really well, you're probably going like around even with Habib. You know, it's truly rare to see Habib actually just get diffed where the other demo's playing better. It's usually like both demos are playing out of their minds if the other demos have been a good game. So I'm rooting for the Covenant sometimes in my heart, but this is going to be a tall order, I think. But we'll have to see how we go. The predictions, obviously, I would assume like a G6 are going to be favored, but I'm not going to count the Covenant out yet. I think Product is one of those classic kind of upset maps. I think there's always potential for it, especially like if you have your mids or just your fights on lockdown, you can get a bunch of really good forward holds. It can snowball very quickly.
I think that I think for my prediction for the score, I feel like the Covenant has some room to shine. Like I said before, they have the tools, they have like the sniper available. They should be able to like have some moments where they can figure out like how to send people behind and get key picks and things like that. But like we always say with Koth, even with we talk about predictions and it being difficult, a team can do well and then get a lot of time off the board, but you can still just barely lose, and then it ends up like being a 4-0 in the other team's favor. And I feel like I might be wrong, but I feel like the trend when it comes to product and maybe even Koth in general is as soon as we went away from like spamming the one map the entire week and you kind of have to impromptu like figure things out as a team, especially with teams shuffling all the time. I feel like teams really struggle to get out of this forward hold if they haven't really addressed the different ways to do it. If you just show up and play Viaduct after maybe you've only scrimmed it like once or twice, you might not have it down all the way, and I'm kind of worried about, if the Covenant, lose a little bit of footing, it's going to be hard to take it back. I mean, maybe they have it down, but looking at teams in the past where they're the underdogs on a map like Product, that usually is their downfall. Like, oh, they
Yeah,
have moments where they shine and they did okay, but they lost literally a minute and a half because they couldn't get out of their spawn, and then
yeah.
like opportunity ruined. So I'm kind of worried for them about that. But if they can get that down, I think they have a shot of making it a close match, but I still feel like either way it's going to be a 4-0 in G6's favor.
Yeah, I think that's definitely possible. Although one thing we haven't mentioned yet is the Covenant might be the last time we see them this season, and they've been I think they've shown this season they're very good with a lot of technology, whether it be banners or just spy shenanigans. I think Product definitely is capable of a shenanigans type of map. I don't know if we're gonna see a banner on Product. That would be pretty
Probably
gnarly.
not. I
Probably
mean,
not, but although if any team would do it, it would be the Kev team. So
yeah, it'd be Kev like going conch or
yeah,
something.
but I'm expecting maybe like a Kev sniper occasionally, maybe even scratch sniper. I'm expecting some sort of. I'd be very surprised if they ran cookie cutter the entire time. I expect at least a couple off classes here and there, and I think there's definitely some potential for that. Maybe they clearly feared some other map more than playing Product, so they must have something going into it.
Yeah, I mean, they got rid of Bagel, so it definitely is a statement. Maybe a little bit on Koth. I mean, to be fair, we talked about already, like, even yesterday, how scary it can be to play G6 on Bagel, no matter what team you are.
Yeah,
So
even Freya, who won the series, got rolled, kind
Yeah,
of
so
owned a bagel.
yeah, so it's kind of like a default ban, and you can't read into it too hard about Koth as a game mode, just because, like, if a team has a specialty map, no matter what game type it is, you just kind of get rid of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they have some room. I'm kind of curious how much they'll go behind, though, because they normally do that a lot on 5CP, but it's usually because an opportunity presents itself, they can get by like without really being seen too much, and it's technically possible on
Yeah, you
Viaduct, but it's
can,
kind
but
of
it's more
harder.
like
It's not.
it's like a tactical fight thing. It's not like a strategic thing. It's like you're
It's a
going
much
behind. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a much smaller map too.
and you're
You
doing
don't.
it with like your scout generally. It's like a mid fight coordination type of thing generally. I feel like.
Yeah, and G6 overall, they've been playing pretty on fire, even losing the series to Freya They put up a monstrous fight, and one round goes, the other direction, and they're the ones that are in, grands. So, it's gonna be tough to beat them, but I think it could be, it could still be a decent game. I think the big thing to watch out for G6, I want to see how locked down the soldiers get. I feel like if Soapy and Kobe, which normally soldiers can be kind of put in prison on this map, if they get unleashed, it could be over before it begins.
Same thing with Habib. I'm gonna
Yeah.
expect at least one or two just Habib like rounds where Habib just has like 600 DPM. But I didn't give my prediction going into, so I'm gonna say a 4-2 for G6. And We're going to be live with our first match of the day, first mid of the day. This is G6 versus the Covenant, and for this first mid, no one's really committing. Just a lot of spam being created back and forth, but nothing too extreme. Both soldiers, a lot of soldiers on the rocks. Actually, there is a scout on the rock as well, just standing in. No one actually wants to commit yet. Both teams trying to feel each other out and just spam being traded.
Yeah, it's one of those times where both teams are like, all right, let's just feel them out and see what they want to do, and it results in not really a whole lot. But finally, some damage happening. Grape Juice goes behind, a little bit of a distraction, but Exile going to get bombed by the side of Soapy and able to take that kill down. Kev's inside the enemy team's house, able to take down Branson, but it will eventually be a trade, but the nuke is unleashed. Azen will fall. Logai's still alive, and they're trying to find some aggression, but Sam and Scratch, they're the last ones left alive, and unable to really get to that medic. Sam will probably get taken down by the side of Kobe, defending himself maybe a tad.
They're chasing, it's really hard. Yeah.
No late demo man death there, so that will be fine for the side of the Covenant, but overall, G6 holding on pretty strong, able to counter-initiate pretty well off of what Covenant tried to do. Like, Grape Juice got really weak, and Exile got immediately shut down, just like nuked as soon as they tried to run across the point. And they have their Uber intact as well, so not only is the time kind of ticking down to even it out, despite Covenant taking the first cap, it's Zac time. They're in the air, they want this Uber out of the equation, recognizing Lolgai behind the rock, and they got the Uber and they got a kill.
Oh, wait, they got Habib?
That's more than you could really hope for.
Yeah, that's more, especially getting a demo pick is huge, because it means the forward hold can't really happen with two players down, but it especially can't happen with Habib down. Although, not for lack of trying, as Sophie is trying to get that, kind of the cheese spam out of spawn. He takes a little bit of damage in return, but the Covenant, pretty good start so far. Like, G6 are up in time, but this is, they have a great opportunity here to actually get the point and buy it a lot of time, but not if Sophie has anything to say about it, but he gets nuked in the process, and that's actually going to use, they get first Habib for the spam. They're going to jump out and try to buy a lot of space, but they get Habib, and at one cost they get Gungan as well. They get the cap, and Kobe was default as well. He's going to try to jump out and land on the pack. He's going to land on the pack, making his way to spawn. Lolgai has a pretty big Uber ad, but they got to get out of the spawn first. This is going to settle into somewhat of a forward hold.
Yeah, good kill. Even though you didn't get Lolgai, at least you got the forward hold. I think Scratch took too much damage, and they wanted to pop just to make sure that you know, he was saved. But both soldiers in the spawn jumping over to see you can kind of use the skybox as a glitch, and they're going for this Uber. But I think them kind of recognizing that it's time for the Uber, they backed up pretty well. Only Grape Juice is going to be the one to fall for the side of Habib Sticky. They're a bit weak. Might be hard to take some positioning back and actually prevent this dry, especially with one person down. But Exile's kind of trying. He doesn't take too much damage yet, but the cap is going to go the way of G6. Is the flank a bit open? Soapy and Branson are going for a play, trying to find Grape Juice on the respawn, and they've timed his walk pretty well, but he has extra assistance. Overall, it'll just be a one-for-one trade. And now they have the Uber ready to go. They're just running across once again, trying to chase down
they're
this
just running at Habib. That
yeah.
might be their strat. That's the third Uber in a row. They've just ran at Habib, or at least the second. But they're unable to get him that time. Habib's able to stay alive, and this could be an immediate refight, as they are going to get the point, but Soapy being just a spawner is going to delay this at least a little bit. As the Kev team, they're holding on to the point, but they're just in a leapfrog situation, and they're down like 10 or 12, 20 seconds overall, so it's going to be kind of tough for them to be constantly leapfrogging.
And the stickies on the
unless
side.
they get a kill like that with Habib.
Didn't clear the stickies off the sign, thought he was pretty confidently going to be able to walk forward, but overall it's going to be an Uber ad that doesn't have a demo man in it, but Azen so close. Maybe it was a bit of false confidence. They go for a flank play over on the side of the enemy team's concrete and able to get maybe something. Got Soapy, but that's about it. Overall giving 2 for that as the rest of G6 backs up a Scratch. Going for the play on the Lolgai. Gets him really weak, needs an extra pistol, and will indeed get the scatter down to kill Lolgai. So overall, play didn't really work out from the side of the Covenant. No, I think they really got messed up mentally for their positioning. The fact they had a dome man kill. Their concrete play did not work, but at least silver lining, Scratch got the salvage. They technically have a small ad. G6 doesn't have an Uber ready to go for this next upcoming fight. But no, they got
even Ubers.
Yeah, at least the time's in their favor, but only for now, as G6 are still holding on to it, and if they hold on to it to a bit longer, it'll switch in their favor.
We'll switch in their favor, as Exile is going to take a bit of damage walking in, and AZN is going to drop the 20 HP, and that's going to signal a retreat from him. But the rest of the team's still kind of committing at least to the spam, or kind of try to get healthy, but that bought a solid couple of seconds there, and a lot of space for G6 to just sit back and try to build the super. It's pretty even, and the Covenant, they got to see what they can do here, and a Scratch is dancing on these stickies.
Yeah, gotta be careful about that. On the rock and the sign. First it was damage on Azen, and then it was damage onto Sam, but they've kind of recognized that Lolgai's playing on one half of the map, so they go for a kill on the other. They do indeed get Soapy, but Azen dies with 99% dropped. Not a drop, but dies to Habib Sticky this Kev. He's trying to go for a salvage. Unable to really find a Lolgai. Maybe we'll find him around the corner.
Oh, he got him.
There
that was a drop.
Lol guy, I think he was so confident that Kev was going down
Kev
to
got,
like the pack area,
waddle drop.
he just stayed up on cliff and no one actually sent to clean him up. And I think a little bit of miscommunication there on where the soldier was, thought he was safe, and bit greedy with the Uber will get punished for it. Is the blue team, despite having their medic die as well, they're able to dry fight this knowing that G6 does not have any heals available.
I gotta get the point though. There's 10 seconds left and they got a minute to burn. I see Habib does have a lot of sneakies on that left side and Dogbread, but they're going to get the point back, but 8 seconds left means they have to play this pretty perfectly. They can allow a recap, but they have to fight immediately afterwards. Unfortunately, they have 40% Uber to work with. G6 going to play this very carefully because if they can't get this point, or at least get a lot of space before the Uber happens.
Much damage
Yeah, they're trying to fight before this Uber happens, and they're so hurt, but they're going to get a bow on Sam. They're trying to cap the point, but the Uber is going to spawn pretty quickly. There's a scout behind as well from G6.
Yeah, going for the pinch play right now on to Exile, just a distraction. Kobe going in, able to get the force. Only 2 left alive, just Aizen and Sam. They're trying to stream 4. They know they have to have some sort of dominance here to defend the point for as long as possible because they need respawners to have some sort of overtime, but the bomb comes in. Aizen will fall. Kobe able to clean up that frag, and Sam surf backwards, but 8 seconds left, 7, and there's no overtime. These 3 players have to run forward and try to get overtime and get the force and survive. This is a scenario that it requires a miracle or at least a drop to find some way to achieve victory, but they will not be so lucky as G6. Actually a pretty close round.
That was a close, closer than I thought.
But it'll still go their way. I mentioned this, like, Covenant, they have some room to work with, but you still have to, it doesn't matter how close you get, you have to take the round, so we'll see if the trend continues or maybe the script will be flipped later on.
Surprised there's no off classes either. The Covenant electing to play that pretty, cookie cutter the whole time, so no memes, no shenanigans. They just, they're fighting G6 pretty hard and just barely not able to make it, but they're going to have a bomb in from Grape Juice, and he might get nuked immediately. He's going to land on a scout's forehead, but not much happens. Sophie's going to actually bomb it and get a 2-rocket out on AZN. This could be a disaster for the Covenant as they are exploding.
Kobe gets a 3K off the distraction. Everyone turned for Soapy, knowing he was such a threat that he killed their medic, and no one looked at Kobe almost at all. Completely able to, just collapse. And that was a stark contrast from a bird's eye view of Grape Juice going in, a distraction, maybe a little bit of damage, but no kill and no follow-up from the team. Meanwhile, from the side of G6, it was the
disaster scenario.
Opposite. But now, disaster scenario. Exile on Pyro. I mean, he does need out of the drop. Okay. Nice bomb from the side of Kev, able to get enough damage to get rid of the enemy medic out of the equation. As no heals available from the side of G6. They're just a skeleton crew up still forward, but they give up their entire team for the side of the Covenant to make sure they got these kills in this drop. So they're going to be a little bit slow on making sure they get their respawners, but I'm pretty sure they're happy with the scenario. They have an ad to work with, but G6, even though their forward hold is pretty much dead, they have some respawners as well. They can play passively over the point, and you might see G6 fight this really fast once they get all their players to try to win before the Uber from blue team actually comes into the equation.
Yeah, and Sophie's going to try to bully his way through. And, is he going to live? He is 6 HP hiding in a corner. He's actually going to go get a pack, but he's out of the fight. Well, meanwhile, Kev, Sam, and Exile are all very low HP. They're going to have to get some space, but the Uber might rapidly approach. They have 95%, 50% Uber in, and they might just try to edge the point here. We'll have to see what they want to do.
They're so weak. Sophie's finally going in, but the Uber is already ready to go. They're chasing down Habib, able to pistol him down. Now Scratcher able to get the scattered, but these Ubers, I mean, they're only really getting a couple, which is fine, but you can also...
the collapse at the end.
As long as they turn this into a forward hold, this is fine. Okay, they lost no one, they can forward it. With these Ubers, if you don't kill the medic to have a permanent ad, then you need to make sure that, at least when you get Uber and get space like this, no one else dies, so that even though they have ad, you can make it sure it's forced pretty much at their spawn. And they successfully did that, so it's a way to kind of work it. Gotta be mindful about the Ubers, I think last time Aizen accidentally died to an Uber that was incoming, but they're actually not doing a forward hold at all. Maybe got scared by
Pyro, looked like it,
not really
then they
sure.
backed up.
Yeah, they ultimately backed up, so they're just
actually
leapfrog scenario.
Yeah.
They're behind though, kind of. They have a flank move going on. Exile fighting Grandson 1v1. Grape Juice is not really there. I don't know if that was a miscommunication, but it's just going to end up with Grape Juice dying as well. So miscommunication from the side of the Covenant, and that means they're not really going to get a real opportunity to get this force. G6 just takes it for free. Their soldiers are a bit weak, but they're ultimately not going to die.
Yeah, but they're not going to get forward held, and they do have an Uber to exchange this very rapidly, as their players are going to spawn. They do have the better respawns. They still have a minute left down they have to make up somehow, but overall that wasn't a disaster. They played that very safe, and they're able to kind of work their way back in, but they still got to have an Uber exchange and then win this fight, and that's the hard part.
Teasing the point a bit. Once again, the Uber will get popped on Scratch. Oh, juggled. Aizen's not.
Dropped.
He got juggled upward and couldn't follow Scratch. And Scratch even turned around, heard the call that wait, I'm juggled, but it was too little, too late. They popped on Scratch because he was weak. They didn't take initiative with the Uber, so when he got disconnected even further, it meant he was under 100, immediately melted. So disaster scenario. Covenant, didn't take initiative with the Uber and kind of got bit for it. And really nice spam from the side of G6, mostly Habib to make sure that the scout kind of got dropped. And it meant there was no real post. It's just a straight up dry now if they've reset and got healed up, which burned a lot of time for the side of G6. Bombs onto Lolgai, but the soldiers, they don't really find too much. Kobe just makes Grape Juice fall flat onto the floor as Soapy behind a thorn on their side as they're trying to back up. They got to make sure they don't leave the wrong direction. Brain Slam above them. Exile gonna die. Habib stickies and the collapse happens. It's just Sam left alive plus some respawners, and they're considering going into spawn. Yes, Gungan able to get the kill on the Sam. Very late. Dome and Death unable to really do anything. Kev is kind of forward fighting Habib. They have to get out here. They have some overtime to work this, so maybe they can be a little bit slow, but full Uber on the side of G6. Another scenario where, I mean, if you want to cap this point, you got to make Lolgai drop and pop that Uber. So 3 kills. They're on
the
the
scouts
point.
got to the point, so they're trying their best, but yeah.
It's too little too late.
It's too little too late. Stats for the DPM gods as that's going to be a 2-0 for G6 heading into it. And that was the round I think people were more expecting. That was G6 got the forward hold, and from there it was like like the Covenant fought back, but once that forward hold really settled into effect, they were just down a minute for the entire round.
Takes a lot of time off the clock, and the fact that they had an opportunity on the side of Covenant to do a forward hold, and maybe they were a bit too afraid of the potential Uber, just backed up. Maybe opportunity lost there, but new round, new you potentially, as we'll see how the soldier initiation works out. So far, it's been the Covenant that have taken the first shot, but Exile only gets eliminated from the server. It's down to 8 HP, has to go back for a package. Grape Juice is making some moves. Gungan's able to take him down, pistoling him down, and Soapy barely escaping with his life. A lot of damage on the Azen, so has to be a little bit passive, and the bomb comes in. Kobe, he just tries to go for Scratch instead. Maybe thought the Scratch was a bit weak, but will not be so lucky to get that kill. So overall 1-for-1 trade, but tons of cap time in favor of
Soapy getting the flank on Exile.
And he's in.
And he's going to bomb in. He's going to see if he can get Azian. Azian is so hurt. Azian's 18 HP. They're going to get Sam off of that. Just Azian having to back up, and they're down 3. And it's not looking too good for the Covenant right now. Grape Juice is fighting Soapy. Actually, he's going to jump up the cat. And G6, they're taking so much aggression here, and nobody's used yet.
Yeah, they get Grape Juice. Bomb comes from Kev.
Ooh, nice
he is
force.
able to hit the 3rd rocket, so they do technically get the force. So I guess you can consider that your sack wave, but blue team got force as well. So realistically, I mean, yes, you succeeded in getting the force, but your own team getting force as well. It's just a weird exchange that can't really turn into a post because you expended 2 soldiers for it. Yet they're still here. G6 know this is a 6v4 until the soldiers actually get there, and they're kind of abusing it. They lose Soapy, which maybe is a little bit of a misplay, but overall, they still hold on strong to the point. Scratch is just in through main. Kobe kind of above them, and I think, yeah, Scratch realizes has
Kobe,
to kind of
he's got to be careful.
Bit,
he's 14 HP on the enemy China, and he's going to get a blow. That might have baited in Scratch as well. Scratch got the backup. I feel the Covenant is just permanently down health, but they finally get to pick something to work off of, and the long defensive respawns are finally going to come into effect here. Although Scratch eating a gnarly rocket.
No scouts, though. I mean,
no
G6
scouts.
Is out of
they're
there.
going to get the point. There was no forward hold, but that was like a forward hold level of time in terms of how long it took to cap. But there might be a collapse, and they might get a forward hold themselves as they get Lolgai. Grape Juice.
Yeah, G6 overstaying their welcome. But Azen, down to 5 HP. Oh, Sam eats the rocket from Soapy. Azen's still alive. Mind the soldier.
Somebody has to kill him.
Thick of it, but it's just Azen left alive, running away. The pistol from the side of Brand Slam. 7 HP has to go for the melee. Doesn't even get the shot. Brand Slam will be able to collect that kill. And honest attempt from the side of the Covenant. They did a good job at the beginning to collapse, but they got collapsed on themselves, blindsided from the opposing side of the map over by Concrete. And I mean, it's one thing to get some good plays happening on one side, but being mindful of the other, is important as well. And kind of made it so that despite their success, it didn't really amount to too much. As G6, they still own the point, still have an Ubrad, and the Covenant still have to get their timings down. They're trying to make some space now. Grape Juice going behind is distracting some of the scouts. They'll be getting bullied backwards as they get a little bit of cap time, but they're bringing a lot back for Grape Juice. They're making the most of this as they can, but so far, no kills. Sam might get bullied himself. Soapy 1v1 versus Kev over on the side of the Concrete. Grape Juice gonna die after being behind for ages, and Soapy, it might be his turn to go for a play, getting a lot of damage on Azen and Kev. They're trying to save for themselves with arrows, but not quite enough in the tank to stay behind the rock. Finally committing, Soapy able to get that frag, and Gungan scattering down Kev and Scratch as well. And the cleanup from the side of G6 is working out really well. Soapy is extremely slippery. He's ending up dying, but he's knowing that it's having a large amount of impact for the team. So much distraction that Covenant, they're unable to really deal with it.
Yeah, Covenant, they're having a tough time just pushing the point in these Uber and dry fight situations. No one at G6 is really dying. Like, Soapy will die at the end of like a long spree of just being behind or creating chaos. And Grape Juice is going behind and buying space, but they can't actually get kills off of it. And Exile's gonna die to a trap. It looks like they're just gonna sack to see if they can get anything to happen, get this Uber forced out maybe. But again, they get Habib, but that's it.
I mean, at least that means that they can't really forward that proficiently, but the little guy, he was basically already at the base of his cliff before I saw people in the air at all. But the previous fight was just like, Grape Juice went behind, he brought 2 people back, but Covenant couldn't find anything out of the 5v4. Maybe a bit too afraid of pushing certain people or something, maybe coordination with the Grape Juice not being able to be like an immediate distraction, but Uber available, they're able to use it, trying to chase down Soapy, but they need to really get this exchange. They finally get enough damage in a low ice, the red team will pop. Their Uber is much better, see if they can juggle Azen around, but they're leaving in different directions. At least he's able to find Exile, but there's no overtime. They have to get to this point for this post. They have to find some sort of wiggle room, a way to kind of break this wall that G6 has put up if Covenant want to stay in. The scratch is going to fall though. They've given up so much for very little, no cap time to really like call anything. So at the end of the day, G6, they hold on in another really confident round coming from them.
Yeah, Brandstead with 4 doms, 7 kill streak, and G6 are getting better and better as the match is going on. I think maybe they'll just attribute, how close the first round was to just, it's first scrim of the day.
Yeah, getting a feel of things.
Yeah, just the DM server warming up, but now we're good. And heading into this half, if you're the Covenant, is this the time you see off classes? Because I predicted some off classes and I've not seen it.
The Spoon, I mean, that's an unlock Kev, but he's the unlock master, and it doesn't get a kill with it, but it's enough for a distraction, so they immediately get 2 from the side of Covenant on a G6, and they actually have a bit of a player ab, and they're losing some of themselves. Only Habib and Logai left alive, though, and Logai is out in no man's land. Habib over on his own cliff, so, I mean, Kev, he didn't really get too much, but he was definitely a large distraction that was enough for them to stream forward and collect a lot of kills, which is a first. I think this is their... technically, they won the first mid, but didn't hold it for very long, but this one looks like they could actually hold it on for a while. I mean, they don't have Kev, but they have their full Uber. Kev's actually respawning on Sniper, so that might be a thorn on their side for the side of G6, unless they are able to find a way to sneakily get in and nail him down. But the first shot is always the most important on Sniper, and we'll see when they eventually figure out of his existence. Soapy bombing in. It looks like a normal sack play that Sniper will shot.
This is the first shot.
They're trying to find a way to nice play, but Azen inside the house. Does indeed have to use, still be able to bomb up through the upper platform to get inside. Another shot into Kobe as well. So, I mean, G6, they did their job. They got the force. That's all they really needed, and the Sniper is revealed, so...
It's gonna be hard though, because they have to push, like, they're gonna have to Uber in, like, straight in, or there's just the risk of Logai instantly dying. Well, yeah. Kev's playing very aggressively. Kev, he looked like he wanted to go for an angle, or maybe...
Look at Soapy, though. Soapy's checking. He's checking to, like, is there a sniper? Well, he's not anymore. He was jumping over the spawn to, like, see if there was a sniper on the valley side.
That's heads up. That's something you gotta do. But Kev actually gonna play inside his team on the traditional China spawn. I don't blame him. He wants that 185, he wants to be buffed. And look how early G6 popped that Uber, because they have to worry about the sniper.
They get 1. So that's something. At least you get the space to kind of have a leapfrog scenario. And this means that for the side of G6, even though they only get 1, if Kev wants to stay sniper, G6 knows the flank will be weak. So if Covenant Uber in, there's still some room for G6 to have some work done. And they're actually going for a forward hold. Grape Juice, I think he walked through not expecting the forward and thought it'd be free, but will not be so lucky as Uber. Does indeed come out. Kev has swapped off the sniper back on Slaughter. They're trying to chase down Logai. Damage on the opposing concrete. They're really full
Logai was so hurt, but he got the pack.
And they lose too.
This could be a disaster. They only get Brandsled. They don't get any other kills. There's so many hurt players for the side of G6, but none of them are actually dying. It's just Kev, who's on Soldier, trying to do the best he can. Grape Juice is behind now, buying some time, but the Covenant actually do have a decent time lead, but it's kind of taken down, and G6 might just go into another forward hold, or at least at minimum have a very successful point defenses. Kev gonna spawn back up on Sniper.
Yeah, just one of those moments where even though you really want the medic, you have to make a tough call, heed the moment. Is it actually obtainable? And the fact that they expended so much and barely even, like, Logai ate the pack and was fine, it just meant their post Uber was not what they needed it to be. They were on point, exposed, and immediately just lost 3, but Uber coming out. Kev is probably going to die, immediately melts. They get Azen as well. Habib with the stickies gets the demo and the medic, so no escape from the side of the blue team. They have some room to kind of loop around.
Scratch just runs into Habib's trap.
Scratch is going to die to stickies. Maybe with the final scale, will be able to get some damage, able to clean up Brand Slam, but that is about it. G6, it's just a scout. They can still do this forward hold to eat up even more time to make sure this clock runs in their favor, despite Covenant have some time of themselves. And Covenant, they got the respawners. They don't really have an ad to work with. They only have the fact that there's a singular scout not watching a door. They got to try to break through, but the spam's all there. Exile, he's already out. Or no, it's Scratch. It's actually the one that's dead.
Yeah, they're gonna get Kobe, so that is a one player down left to deal. One player they don't have to deal with, but they still have to get out of the forwards. And Lookman does have a slight Uber. They're holding pretty close, and Sophie's just gonna die, trying to get bowed, unable to get in. That's probably gonna signal the retreat as Habib's still holding strong on Cliff. He's waiting to see if he can get a sneaky trap kill, but ended up backing up as Lookman has a very slight Uber. I don't know if he knows.
Probably isn't able to get the sightline onto
Oh,
Azam.
Kev gets rolled by Kobe, though.
They're going for it anyway. Oh,
Habib just in so deep, and he's gonna
flash
die.
on him, though, but he gets the pipe on the Sam, so
He
overall
gets
just a demo
3.
trade. Yeah, overall, getting 3 total for the side of G6's favor. Cleaning up Exile as well, trying to salvage on the wall guy. The surf isn't very good, but the rocket hits and it's not enough damage. Aizen dies in the backline, Soapy able to clean up that frag as he's levitated in the air, trying to get the final rocket on the Kev, will not be so lucky, but the Brand Slam's there to clean up. Finally, on to Sam and Scratch as well. Gonna be a crater from the side of Kobe, 1v1 scout duel, but G6, they're giving him a bit despite owning the point. Trying to stuff these doors knowing that might be difficult for Covenant to get overtime, but overall with no soldiers, this might be a little bit of room for the side of the Covenant to put some more time on the board, but you gotta be careful. They still have some gas in the tank, they're still showing face. ×5 on the point. A little bit of damage on the gun again and Brand Slam, gonna cause them to back up, and Covenant, they're still holding on, but just barely.
Yeah, that was a good refight though, because they got the point. Noobers are still again like at what 10% ad, so I don't think G6 is, maybe if they're really feeling themselves they can go off of it, but odds are they're just gonna stay pat and see if they can defend the point. And they have point with even Ubers, which is a pretty decent situation to gain, but they're being aggressive. I think they don't want to just let G6 play the game they want. They want to try to take some aggression, but it's just gonna get Exile killed again, going for a flank play.
Yeah, it went behind, brought 2 people back, but once again, the Covenant not using this 5v4 advantage of their flank is kind of giving them, maybe, I'm not sure if they're recognizing the scenario and what's had, but overall, Uber Exchange goes out, buys some time for the respawner. Exile will respawn, but he's not quite in the fight as Scratch, juggled around, will get scattered down by the side of Brand Slam as they've given up so much space, and the cap goes in favor of G6. Kev falling as well, and they're running backwards, but they can't afford to. They have to streamline forward. There's no overtime. Someone has to touch the pointer. You lost, and no one able to get there in time. A soldier too little too late as map taken in a 4-0 sweep by the side of G6.
Yeah, well, you did say it was a 4-0 sweep. A couple of rounds were pretty close, but G6 coming out overall with the 4-0 product, can't complain too much. That's, say what you will about how close some of the rounds were, but that's as good of a score as you can get.
Yeah, round 1 and round 4, the Covenant had like under 60 seconds left to kind of work with, which it's a pretty close round. But it definitely showed, even in those rounds, plus the rounds 2 and 3, that G6 they pick it for a reason. They were semi-prepared. They had stuff down. There were a couple hiccups, but nothing that will really worry them long term. As now it's the Covenant's turn to show what they got. As moving on to their pick of Gullywash. I mean, it's obviously they're the underdog, so it might be a tough call on what kind of map you want to go for. But Gullywash, I don't think well, obviously
Look at all those predictions.
Yeah, but a lot of people were really confident about G6's dominance there. But for Gullywash, I mean, you can slow things down on Gullywash. You can, play the sniper. You can play the banner. You can kind of go behind as long as you can find a way to get into Baby Door. But, we'll see how that kind of transpires. As I think a classic of Gullywash is because the mid is so unique, and it can be really difficult to survive through it sometimes, even if it doesn't really go your way. Unless you just full out send everyone to their medic and just escape. I'm kind of curious how the mids are going to go, because you don't really get to have this farming banner to push last, sniper trying to break into their 2, etc. if you're kind of on the back foot. So I'm kind of curious to see what the Covenant's going to break out with their first couple minutes of the game. But before we get too deep into Gullywash, you do have the stats. Habib, saw him
wow, Habib did well. Who could have seen that coming?
He chewed up Exile and Scratch so much. A lot of the times in some of these fights where someone went behind, I feel like that was part of the reason why there was no follow-up. Like, hey, I'm distracting. 2 people are chasing me. Can you guys push? Nope. Part of the people that would run forward at the enemy team's combo at the rock were just getting diffed by Habib. Made him too weak to feel confident to run forward, and definitely shows in the logs with his damage.
Yeah, it definitely shows. And also, one thing to note is everyone at G6 had over 300 DPM. Whereas the Covenant, not a single player over 300 DPM. So I think the damage stats are just telling alone that there was a lot of damage being done. And now you have the soldiers for G6 going positive on product, or at least in Sophie's case, not negative, which on Roamer is basically going positive. So I think that just goes to show, even though some of the rounds were close, how dominant G6 was overall.
Especially because it can be really snowballing. With it being such a small map, I mean, you can do this on any map, but when it comes to the smaller ones, even one kill can just oh, okay, floodgates open. You're all going to die now unless you immediately leave and find a way to finesse yourself out of the situation. And the Covenant, there was a lot of situations where they lost one and it kind of just snowballed from there. They got a couple kills along the way, but overall weren't able to really hold on. But on to Gullywash, it's not Koth, it's gonna be 5 CP. It's not gonna be as fast paced, and I mean, unless it's like a hyper roll. Obviously, any slow map can be hyper rolled, but as long as it's at least somewhat even, it can generally be it's easy to make it a slower paced game, which we've seen that the Covenant kind of lean towards. That's probably another reason why G6 are so like keen on playing Koth is they scrim Covenant a decent amount. They know their play style. They know what they kind of lean towards, and you can't really lean into one of the staples of this team so far on Koth. So maybe we get to see, the Covenant in a little bit of a more comfortable situation where they can find their footing.
I mean, they had a lot of maps available to them. The only map that was banned was the one they banned, and they banned, was it? They didn't get to play...
Bagel.
No, Bagel was their ban. They didn't get to play Snake. Yeah, so other than Snake, this was their top choice, supposedly. So, as two Koth maps aside, G6, yeah, I assume they're probably cooking up something. They got some theories, or I think they're probably trying to play to their strengths rather than G6's weaknesses. I don't think G6 are going to be particularly, say, weak on this map. I'm getting the impression that they're trying to play to their strengths.
Yeah, I think that's safe considering it's really like obviously no team is perfect and no player is perfect, but it's really hard to like find a particular and claim that a particular part of G6 is weak. Like even them being in the lower bracket is off like a singular round. If there's a singular round difference in their previous series versus Froyotech, they're in Grants instead, and it can be really difficult to like find a pattern like, oh, G6 just does this and that. We do this and then we win for sure. Like they probably don't really have that very easily read. So you maybe figure out some stuff in the middle of your match, but probably not before. It's going to be a bit difficult. So it's definitely important to lean into your own game in situations like that, especially when you reach the point where the teams are pretty high level. So we'll see. I'm kind of curious if the shenanigans are going to bleed into mid too, like Kev sniper to mid type deal. That could be a strategy.
Yeah, I think we might see some shenanigans. I'm expecting some banners, maybe on Gully. Expecting some technology, but we're gonna be heading live pretty soon. Predictions. A lot of people are G6 favored, which I don't surprise them, but I'm gonna say this is gonna be. I think it's the Covenant. I'm gonna say like a 4-2 for G6. Although maybe. You think the Covenant can pull this one out?
I say 5-1 G6. I think G6 are on a roll right now. Kev is on sniper to mid. First mid. They're not screwing around. They're going out of the gate and trying to throw him into a loop.
This is his first shot, but Sophie's already dead.
Yep, one person down. Gotta be mindful of the sniper sight lines, and yeah, they're just out. If they try to play this slow off the fact they have, a person down in the sniper sight line, you don't want to have to deal with that. So the funny thing is, I don't even think it was a sniper that got Sophie killed. It was just a little bit of awkward gameplay that maybe Sophie didn't expect. I'm not really sure, but they already have the sniper to try to break the stalemate. The Ubers aren't even in equation yet, as both teams are around 75. But classic sniper big door. Kobe almost getting directs onto scratch. Will finally eat an arrow and is safe, but Kev still watching big door. It's gonna be their ticket to try to break through. Is the entirety of G6 is just up top. They're afraid of the ruse of like one, the sniper going for a hero play, and then two, you have a sniper so you hold close, and the fact that you're holding so close means a soldier. Well, a soldier bombs in when you have medics hold close to walls when there's snipers, and the fact that you're against the wall means that if they
easy through rocket.
Right. So if Grape Juice did decide to bomb,
they're actually trying to go back to choke. The thing with Sniper Big Door is though, he could just backpedal a little bit and watch choke as well. So, granted they don't have infinite time, but the Kev actually, are they in the wrong config? They are.
Are they? Oh
yeah,
no.
Look, I see.
Oh, Sophie just said it in chat. Yeah.
No, I saw 9 minutes and I was like, wait a second, something's wrong.
Uh-oh.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Dead.
Maybe they'll just play with it.
As well.
Looks like they're just gonna play with it.
They could just play with it and then just like screw around with the time if need be, or something like manually change up whatever lines of. Oh, they're re-execing. Okay, so
yeah, there goes the map.
Well, right. Okay, well, that mid is thrown in the trash can then. I mean, realistically, that was like not even a mid. This is Grape Juice's server.
Oh well, they should. I feel like G6 should maybe give them mid. We'll see.
Probably.
I assume that's what happened, but
who knows? It was such a weird mid though, because it was
a weird mid, but they still got it.
It was sniper to mid, and I don't think the sniper really did anything either.
Wait, it's Walrex's server? No way.
No, Dolphins are
Okay,
it's not
Dolphins
Walrex's server.
trolling you. Late April Fool's trick. I was gonna say.
And I'm pretty sure it's not even Walrex's server. It's someone else's on his team server, but he's just taking all the heat because he's the admin.
Yeah, I mean, justifiably so. But
okay, well,
I guess the surprise factor. Yeah, right config this time. The surprise factor is going to be lost for the good old sniper class, which is unfortunate for Kev.
I wonder if G6 concede mid and just say you guys take it, we'll stalemate like we just were. If Kev will actually spawn on sniper and like continue to sniper, if he'll go back to soldier.
I feel like they might just look, because the thing is, if G6 goes to mid again, they see a sniper. The next couple mids, there's going to be a soldier at least like posturing to just send a nuke into big door, you know? Because that's the counter. You just send like a soldier or two into big door, and the sniper can't do anything about that. Unless...
Well, I think for the mid fights, I don't think you'll do multiple snipers in a row because G6 will adapt, and then I think Kev's smart enough to know that G6 aren't going to do nothing to stop him. So
sniper to goalie mid works once.
Yeah, so he's for mids, he's certainly going to like swap, unless he wants to play mind games and like G6 thinks that he's going to swap off. But regardless, he'll probably most likely swap off to soldier for mids, at least for a couple of them, to like play at this faster pace that they probably expect G6 to retaliate with. I'm just curious about the if they go back to the stalemate. Thank you, Dolphin, for the Ohio picture.
Yeah,
if they go back to the stalemate, and don't replay the mid, if he'll roll out on sniper like he was, or if he'll just say screw it and spawn soldier.
I don't know.
That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah. Imagine this, right? They go back and Kev just immediately spawns spy.
That could be something.
I would you put it past them?
That's something that Kev would do.
Yeah, they send the map timer to 27 minutes.
So mid's not being replayed.
So mid's not being replayed, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just well, right now they're currently DMing, I believe. But that mid was over before it began. I feel like we didn't see much. We saw like Soapy just kind of like exploded on it. He hellbinded or fell down the stairs. Something happened.
And he then landed near their choke and would try. I think he tried to go fast on the demo and just.
And Soapy died, and then G6 saw Sniper, and they're just like, let's just back up. And then we saw Kev staring at a wall for a long period of time as nothing really happened. So we didn't really see much gameplay in that short period of time where there could have been gameplay.
Yeah, not really much. I mean, it was 3 minutes, so. But I'm on the Kev cam. I want to see what he rolls out to mid with. Because it is not a mid refight. He is on soldier. So no sniper. That's the big difference for this stalemate, is there's no sniper threat for the side of G6, although I don't think G6 really know the sniper threat is gone. I guess this could be somewhat equivalent to the idea of like Kev running back all the way back to spawn, or and switching off. But I guess another difference is Exile kind of died right before they recognized the wrong config, but he's alive now, so maybe slight differences in the stalemate. But I mean, Kobe just peeked, and I'm pretty sure he saw 2 soldiers, so they know there's no sniper available. So G6 in the know, building the Uber to get back to the situation where we were before we reset and put the right config on. But as they finally reach their Uber, it's still Covenant's game to try to break the board and the stalemate.
Have you seen the Covenant play goalie this season? I don't. My memory is not good. I don't remember.
I don't think we've casted it. Maybe they've played it, but just not against a really
so we don't know what kind of tech they have, what kind of stuff they like to do. I like the second and G6. They're gonna like to have Habib and one guy's gonna rotate over, hold big door. And actually, who was that? Kev just got air shot into the enemy better.
Yeah, and the overall 2-man though, they gave out 2 soldiers for that, which means
2 soldiers on goalie's kind of wild, honestly.
Yeah, that's not that great. I mean, I think G6 are pretty okay with the fact that there's no spam to walk into mid here. A lot of damage onto A's, and we'll find
it's gonna be a scout train though.
They don't get anything at all.
There's a lot of players behind. They can try to clean up though.
3 behind. Soapy's just in. It's on to Azen. One final rocket able to take him down. Gets saved as well. The timing is perfect. And Scratch Soapy with the giant play from underneath the point. They are able to get Habib exiled. Trying to do a little bit of salvage, but yeah, Kev on sniper. Bransam trying to take him down. Grave just trying to protect, but not quite enough. Soapy on a 6K.
Yeah, that was very chaotic. Yeah, I'm surprised that G6. I'm not surprised that they committed. I'm actually surprised that the Covenant stayed in after being down both soldiers. I feel like that's like a refight scenario. You like Uber back into mid or try to get into mid without using, but they just they gave up both soldiers for the force and then just lingered. Like they did go for the scout and doubles, 2 scouts walking at them, but they were all split up. And, it didn't look like there was much chance of success.
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily were realizing or expecting like the level of aggression that was going to show from the side of G6. The Uber comes out, Kev tried to go behind, cleaned up by the side of Sophie. Gun will finally die, the power kind of slow things down a bit, but a little bit of cat climb from the side of Secret. He's going to bring the pyro over, but Scratch just getting scattered down by the side of Gungan. Pipe onto Sophie, a bit weak. There's a little bit of a slower post, but player ad in G6's favor as Kobe bombs forward, gives him the slice to take down Exile. Sam still trying to lock things down. Sticky's dead on the point. Still some Secret action, but Gungan as he exits will indeed die to a pipe from the side of Sam, but only Kev left alive, able to take
Kev
down
hitting some nice rockets though.
Yeah, hit a rocket, but
maybe did he give enough time? Oh,
not enough.
Scratch just barely. Kev tried his best, but unable to do that much. As that's gonna be the first round for G6, and yeah, I feel like that round was literally just you know. The Covenant did something really weird, and then Sophie just kind of spin botted for a minute.
Because it's one thing if you have a really terrible Uber and it means you lost bin and have to go back to 2 and stalemate there, but not only did Sophie clean up the 4 people on mid, he got the extras that were rolling out as well. With like both the Soldier
he literally
players.
got a clean sweep right there. But Sabib is immediately dead.
Yeah, the same could be said with Exile though. He kind of got, you know, screwed down to 2 HP, but Kevin.
No, I think I'll take a scout over a demo on
Oh, Kobe's on the sniper. Threat thwarted. Sam popped up into the air, trying to surf around, but he's on the wrong side of the map. Trying to fight Gungan, will eventually die. Sophie getting another frag there. Is Sam on the chase, but doesn't have the team or the health to really go too deep. And
Grape Juice is spawn camping.
Are they on the wrong? No, they're on the right side of the map.
Grape Juice is gonna spawn camp Habib. This is
Habib's
on pyro.
He's on pyro. And Grape Juice down to 60 HP.
Habib's so smart. Habib is the smartest man. He's on the detonator to spam him.
And Grape Juice still alive, but does not get the demo kill that he wanted. But otherwise, a fight's happening on the side of 2.
I don't think I've ever seen Habib play that class before. Have you ever seen Habib play Pyro?
I've seen him play Sniper in forwards.
I've seen Sniper forwards. I've never seen Habib Pyro before. That's a new one.
First time for everything. But overall,
first time for everything.
The Soldier plays definitely worked out in G6's favor. They able to get the force. Kev is on Sniper, could be a thorn in their side. Oh, low guy. He's behind the box. He's trying to avoid the Sniper sight line, but they don't really have a whole lot to call this stickies from Habib. Never mind.
He got
question mark in chat.
He got Sig, Bode, and Stickied in the same exact tick and died immediately. That was that's back to the respawn queue there for Kev. Very unfortunate, as G6 gonna take this Uber at. Looks like they're gonna try to go for last 2. They still have 30% left, and Kev is still dead, which means one soldier / sniper off the board. And Kev, one of the main threats of the Covenant, means that Kev is back up now. G6 gonna like to just kill and go for a traditional try to force the enemy medic.
Yeah, they know that it's too little too late when it comes to having an Uber ad, but the gun is in water. Sam sees it, just corner bangs it, able to take it down. Almost Exile's there. He actually wants to fight the scout. He has, less ammo.
He does
he's
have
on
the
the
beast
frontier.
cannon, I think.
He's on the frontier justice, which means until he actually has the crit, he has less ammo to work with for that 1v1. Sam dropped on 5 HP. Grape Juice able to get that kill, but they do kill the sentry, so I mean pretty standard. That Kev just walked over Stickies all over the point. I don't think Habib saw it at death though. But, well, that's a bit spooky, but. Sophie tried to zone Kev out of the side of river, will be successful. He's an arrow, but Scratch is still there, trying to scatter him down.
Kev just
nice
walks
shot
out of spawn and kills Gungan.
No scouts.
Oh, Kev's going for a play. Oh, and he's
Kobe's there though.
Oh, no, he's not dead actually. Okay.
Yeah, staircases. Oh, Grape Juice in. Does get the force around the corner. Low guy a bit too close. Has to pop.
Yeah, they're only down Grape Juice too, so one player for a force, I think we take those. This is massive red, but you still gotta push out a Gullywash, which can be a bit tough. There might be some back cap shenanigans, as we do have 2 players still on last, but Kobe's gonna try to go for he's gonna spin Exile. But there's a demo on last.
They're just going for the back cap. They've wanted to confidently take this like 2v3 and Kobe inside water. They've collected a couple. The post Uber from the side of the Covenant was not very good. Kev got dropped and went a bit too deep and is unable to escape. But the back cap does not quite work, but I don't think they necessarily need that to win this round. Is taking the 5v3, able to immediately melt down Exile. Sam and Grape Juice followed quite soon after, as overall feels like it was really disjointed. The Covenant, they sent 3 into River and saw the medic and decided to use, but they failed to clear lobby at all because they still had one
there was
last.
Like 4 players in
one
lobby.
respawning. The timing of the push was just not quite there. They needed their team ready to make sure that lobby was empty, and they failed to do that and got heavily punished for it. G6 up 2-0.
Yeah, the back cap attempt also brought so many people back, and there was immediate 90 damage rock on a scout, which kind of spelled disaster. I'm even going to be in big door at least getting his spam very early. There's going to be an immediate commit from Grape Juice onto the enemy team. He's getting massive damage, and he gets the pack, and there's a scout chasing him. He's going to die, but he did a lot of damage. And
Sam fell on the floor.
He's jumping. Sophie's behind. Sophie's behind it, everyone. He gets a scout, and he trades. Pretty good trade. Actually, maybe not as their might refight, but there's more players behind now.
Yeah, gotta be careful. This timing has to be right. Gungan a bit weak, but Kobe
Can't
on
trade
the
for a
chase.
beam, and there's head. It's happening, but oh, he can't get 82%, and he's gonna die. And Grand Slam getting the cleanup kills, and that was a noble attempt, but we have the Grape Juice Sniper now, gonna show Kev how it's done.
Really good play from the side of G6, and another example of the Covenant. They're failing to recognize quickly enough when it's time to leave in some of these scenarios. They lose too many people. G6 know that they can be greedy about it and go for these pinches and giant plays where they can turn a couple frags into a complete team wipe. And the Covenant are kind of failing to recognize it. Grape Juice on Sniper. He was up in deep river, but had to back up slightly. Is now just holding
a
the far
contest with some skits.
Yeah, far end of river is spotted there. I think they saw the sniper there, plus maybe the dot, but he's fallen back to last now. Does not want to get Ubered through wood. That's what, the way that G6 is going. Habib messed up his sticky jump, but they're still in, and this Pyro's on the gun. Sam dying though. No Delvin, no stickies on the point. This is terrible from the side of the Covenant right off the bat.
Yeah, Soapy's on the point, although he's getting spit from the ring soldier. Group just doing a good job shooting down his XL. He's just on the Putis. He's G6.
In.
The player's behind.
He's on the jetpack in. Scratch jetpacked into main and tied up G6 so they couldn't actually re-enter the last.
Yeah, kind of rough there. Losing Sam early means that he's going to be up for this repush, but they're still down Scratch, and Habib has his stickies unshuttered. As they're going to get another point, and it looks like there's no real shenanigans happening. Habib's still putting stickies on the shutter, making sure that the reinforcements aren't getting there quite in time, but the Covenant with a little breath of life, they're actually getting the point and getting second, actually playing the game somewhat. And they even have they're going to Uber in with 30% Uber at it. G6 is nowhere in sight.
Sam's sticky got moved right before they were going to jump, so unable to really get to the choke.
G6 is through drop that immediately.
They're not even holding the choke. Yeah, they know this Uber was incoming, and nice rockets inside of Cody to take down Scratch. They get Exile as well, so no flank play going to be successful. The entirety of the flank from the side of the Covenant going to fall.
Soapy's
they gotta get out of here.
They don't know.
Behind. Another situation where they just get pinched. Azen taken out of the sky by the side of Kobe, and it's just Sam left alive 2 HP, getting killed by Kobe as well on a 4K right now. As they're stacking 2, they're going to last. They got some couple spawners up because their flank died, but they're already on the ring. They're locking them out of spawn.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of tough. As Grape Juice going to bomb, trying to make some space, but how much happening is we do have another Putis, but that's going to be a 3-0 for G6, and G6 are coming out the gate hot. They are not happy by being low bracket, you can tell.
They're doing a really good job of recognizing these little things they can be greedy about. Like I said before, to turn, like, a tiny situation that could be slightly beneficial to taking point after point after point. And the Covenant, they gotta be on their toes. They got the Kev sniper to mid again, which could end up in their favor. They haven't done it for a little bit, so maybe it'll be a surprise factor once again. As Habib gets
body shot.
Yeah, he needs the pack again, unable to really spam quite efficiently. Soapy did a good job of zoning Kev out, and so the sniper's not really going to be in play for a moment there. As he's rotating all the way to choke, and G6, they're trying to zone him. Soapy's actually going to go all the way behind through the enemy team's choke, as they're actually going really aggressive from the side of G6 over into the corner the Covenant is sitting by. Soapy with the flank, able to take down Kevin. Sam dying as well.
Gungan committing for Azian.
There's only 2 left alive.
Oh, they're so hurt. They're going to get Azian. They're going to get the cleanup. And the cleanup for G6 at the end of these fights, the Covenant, they're trying to back up their choke, which is normally, it's pretty hard to chase through there, but they're getting through every time and getting players in. XL on the spy, the first SPI of the match.
Yeah, I think the Covenant wanted to commit to playing slow because they have a sniper, so they just want to really have room for him to do work, but he got zoned out of big door, had to rotate all the way through, and that's when they were just kind of in a corner of death. They got some kills, but needed quite a lot more. As XL is probably going to be the not really going to work out.
Oh, but he got the force.
That's something, but there's so many people in the lobby they could potentially chase down. Grape Juice gonna get fragged. They lost Kobe to backlines, and Azen is on 2? They tried to block 2 and were unsuccessful, and now they're just in river. Last undefended, they put all their eggs in one basket to see if they could block 2 in time, but were unsuccessful, and that leaves last completely exposed. G6 takes the 4th round.
This might be a clown fiesta. We still have players with single-digit points, so the Covenant not looking too hot.
Yeah, not very happy times for the side of the Covenant, but we've seen reverse sweeps before. All it takes is the right mid-fight to go your way. Finally you just say screw it and go for whatever you're holding back. And Kev on Soldier, so maybe we'll see some faster paced gameplay from the side of the Covenant in terms of the pace of the mid.
Oh, Habib immediately just gets nuked.
But it's gonna be Sam the first to fall though.
Yeah, Habib ate a headshot rocket and crater damage, but he still lived. He got bowed, whereas the Covenant, they got Sophie and they got Habib, but not much else is. It's just going to be Kev left alive, the last man standing, see what he can do. Not much, as that's going to be another full wipe for the Covenant on their last legs in this match. And if they lose this map, They were
They're
out.
eliminated, yeah.
They're third seed.
I think it's a large statement to be made when you see so much damage from the side of the Covenant on a G6. They had like 3 people at half health as soon as they rolled out. Nice
God,
headshot from
man.
Scratch. G6 was by far, in the first couple seconds of the mid, so much weaker, but yet the first kills, their first deaths rather, were on the Covenant side. So they get a lot of damage, but they give up too much for it and unable to really have the focus fire down to get these kills. But trying to go for plays, want some sort of X factor to slow them down.
Grape Juice just waddled through me to got the force. He literally got a
that's
one,
what you
one
need.
rocket force.
And
And Kobe's on Spy.
He's slowing them down. Kobe on Spy though, he's the insurance. Little guy 20 HP, they can't drive it. I mean, they're just gonna wait for Kobe to. Is Kobe just gonna back cap? They're not gonna.
I think he's gonna back cap.
They're gonna have ad. They're gonna push out. They're not gonna leave anyone on last, and Kobe's gonna back cap.
It's gonna be, yeah. I feel like that's probably what's gonna happen. Is you have Scratch moving up on Sniper. There is Kev on last. I think Kev smells something's going awry.
Oh,
I think
bumped
XL bumped into. Did XL bump into him?
Yeah.
Wait.
XL bumped him. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
he might. Oh, yeah. Looks like they know, but that means they're gonna have to commit so many players to last. They all.
Kev kind of wanted
Kev's
to
like
stay.
Kev's lingering.
Yeah, he
Scratch
wants
gets
to.
soapy.
Yeah, so that is a pick. They do have the Sniper pushing out with full ad. Kev's still on last, but it's even Ubers now. They've wasted so much time. They have some position, but they gotta really lock it out. And
Kobe's going for the revolver. Wait.
Over
Wait,
on last. Wait,
no
they got
way.
Ram behind as well.
Got it.
They were unsuccessful at actually locking down lobby, so it wasn't just a 1v1 Spy versus Soldier at last. Brand Slam came to help and put up enough damage to seal the deals. That's a really swift 5-0 from the side of G6. Halfway through, like a 17-minute 5-0? Pretty clean.
Yeah, that was pretty clean.
They're moving on to the grand finals and later on today in the Covenant. Third seed, third place.
Yeah, third place and a very dominant showing from G6. I like I said before, I don't think they're happy about being the lower bracket, but they got it out of the way pretty quickly, and they have time to rest and regroup, try to fight Tech, which is happening. I guess we have to hear from both teams when that's happening. Yeah. The default time is 7:30, but they could move it up if they so desire. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes down. Might be different depending on the day, but
okay.
It seems, I guess that kind of makes sense. They're still planning to do 7:30. I think yesterday the reason why the other match wasn't early, the upper bracket wasn't early and the lowers is because G6 wanted like the full break. And considering G6 is still in the bracket, they probably once again want the full break. So I guess plus the storm, but the grand finals will be today, 7:30 EST for anyone who doesn't live near EST and doesn't want to do the mental math. That is in an hour and a half. Fingers crossed that that's the start time. You never know with storms and stuff. Last time we saw a delay because Sandblast Power was out, and Sandblast Power is still out, but he's elsewhere.
Really?
He's elsewhere, able to play at someone else's house. He brought all his stuff. So
dedication.
Yeah, Sandblast will return for the grand final.
Those predictions. Wait, Dolphin had the script.
Yeah, I mean, based off the showing that G6 had yesterday, despite losing, I think it definitely makes sense to say that they're out here ready to play, and they definitely show what they're capable of. And they're not screwing around.
Why is one player's name Pink?
We'll see what's enough though.
I've never seen that before.
Land donation incentive.
Oh, okay.
But here's the final stats from the side of the Covenant this season up against G6. I mean, considering it's a 5-0, the 17-minute 5-0, so the numbers don't really go that high. Spare Soapy, who got multiple, he got a 6K, I think he got a 4K once.
Yeah.
But they don't look too crazy.
Habib's having another day at the office for Habib.
Yeah, I mean it's Gullywash too, so.
Yeah. So I feel like the stats, yeah, G6 rolled kind of a stomp. Their stats are going to look good. I don't see anything really too crazy.
Little guy 2-0.
Yeah, little guy 2-0. Sam having a sad game. Just a lot of sad players for the Covenant. A lot of happy players for G6. And G6, other than Lol guy, G6 had every single player on the team go positive, or at least not negative, in both maps.
I think that kind of shows how much they had things under control. Even though there were moments where the Covenant found a couple kills to make things not go too awry, that G6, they didn't really have any moment. I think looking back at it, I don't think there was a single moment where G6 full wiped very terribly. They messed up so bad and that Covenant took full advantage of it. Even moments where oh, Covenant did a really great play, they killed a demo and medic, they lost so much themselves and it just ended up being a trade. So they're definitely on top of things, but Tech might be another story. it's going to be a really nice rematch. As yesterday we saw a 4-1 for G6, and then a 4-3 and a 4-3 again in
That was
Froyacek's
a
favor.
long last round too in Sultry.
Yeah, and I'm hoping for some more close games. So
I'm hoping for some more close games too.
We'll see if the train keeps rolling at 7:30.
Yeah, but I guess that's it for now. We'll hopefully see everyone in an hour and a half for RGL Grand Finals, last match of the season.
Yep, taking a bit of a break. Not too long of a wait, hopefully, but this is going to be for all their marbles, so you don't want to miss it. Hopefully, we'll see you then.
All right. Any final thoughts or any last things we have to go over? I think we're good.
Fingers crossed that the storms don't throw a wrench in
It's
any
sunny
plans.
where I am, and Sandblast is in the same state.
No, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good for now. We're good for now. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you guys in about 90 minutes.
Yeah.